COE champion over everything.
Champion over everything.
Welcome everybody to another episode of COE Champion Over Everything. Man, today's episode is gonna be a little bit different, a little bit crazy, a little bit wild, because I have with me the vibe controllers, my brother Merc and Cocky. Man, I've been knowing these guys for over 20 years. Our moms used to work in the justice.
Yeah, the judicial
court system. Way back when I met them, when they were seniors in high school, in the band, drum majors, kicking the legs and doing all the other wild, crazy stuff. But man, since then, we pretty much reconnected at USM, and that's really man, it was kind of crazy. You know, I met them again at USM. Then we kind of had some crazy tragedies, not really tragedies, but just some crazy accidents that kind of brought us all back together. And man, we've been vibing. We've been vibing with each other's for ever since then, man. You know, so Merc, better known as Kelly, Cocky, better known as Kerry, you know, they government names. I can do that. You know. They've nicknamed me. You know, we all had alter egos when we were roommates staying together. But you know, welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to the show, man. I want y'all to keep it 100 unique, 100 you, the champions of comedy, the champions that you are, the vibe controllers. So, with all that being said, man, we normally kick off the show with a champion story. That's just your testimony, kind of letting the people know a little bit about y'all, and then a little bit about what you had to do or what you had to overcome throughout your personal or professional life. So, however y'all want to do it, the platform is yours.
So before we get started, for those who are listening, the views of the vibe controls are not the same views of champion over everything. So all that's going to be said this evening, well, take that back. The views of Merc are not the views of Cocky or champion over everything. Yeah. So anything he say, it's just him.
And so the names of the stories will be changed to protect the guilty. Yeah, you heard that right. The guilty. Because we got some crazy stories, but we ain't gonna call out no names. I'm sure they don't know who they are once they hear it, but it is what it is.
But I guess we'll start. I guess a champion story. And it just really starts where we're from. Like, we're from the Mississippi Delta, Greenville, to be exact. What up? So, yeah, man. I mean, we come from a single parent home, neighborhood with probably two dads. So we were raised by the community, and you know, we had a lot of people who were able to influence us and you know, help us tap into our creative sides, which, you know, we're diving into now. So about 2007 ish, I moved to Jackson, Mississippi. You know, I had an opportunity, well, since names are protected, a person who I was dating at the time, who was from the hometown of where Reggie Furlong.
I ain't gonna tell y'all where I'm from to protect the guilty.
So she was connected with the guy by the name of Ezra Brown, who was the owner of Seven Studios, and had an opportunity to really come in and start hosting. And so you know, during that time, my brother was living in Hattiesburg, so I've been hosting strong in Jackson for about like 2 years or so before he moved here to Jackson. And then we had a chance to kind of branch out and do our own thing, hosting with the what's the name of the thing in Hattiesburg? Wasn't it the open mic experience? The open mic experience.
It was open mic, yeah.
So we got an opportunity to host.
I got a story about that too.
Ooh, we got so many stories about it.
Oh, bro, I was like, but man,
Yeah, so we got an opportunity to host during that time period. And then as we were hosting together, I transitioned to Memphis to make some other choices. And then that's when Merc kind of took over the reins and started doing his thing. And then I let him give y'all his history from there.
Oh yeah, so yeah, I just kind of, I started where I was able to have an opportunity to host because of that, and then I started to kind of transition over into doing stand-up comedy as well too. So it wasn't just hosting; it was literally getting on stage, doing the set, and all that other kind of stuff. And so did that, and that kind of, long story short, that kind of parlayed into an opportunity to audition for Kevin Hart's Heart of the City, which is a comedy show that's spearheaded by one of the Plastic Cup Boys and producer and writer in his own right, Joey Wells. It's his creation actually, and season 2 they were looking for cities to go to. Shout out to Marvin Hunter, who's also from the Mississippi Delta. Where we claim Vicksburg as Delta, but they don't claim us. But he happened to actually go to California and perform, and met Joey Wells, and Joey Wells had not decided on where he wanted to go at that particular time or what cities that they wanted to go to. And he actually recommended 2 cities. He recommended South Carolina and Jackson, Mississippi. And so Joey Wells' response was, they do comedy in Jackson, Mississippi? And so that lets you know that a lot of folks don't know that we got talent like this here. And so they actually ended up coming here the next week, scoped out a spot, had auditions. I was just grateful enough to be one of the 4 people chosen to represent the city and the state. And, the rest is history, man. We out here. We've been vibing ever since.
Champions, I hope y'all enjoying this week's episode of the COE podcast. But we got to take a quick break to acknowledge our sponsors. Aspire Pure, a premium ionized alkaline 9.5 pH plus water. That's a mouthful right there. That has a proprietary UV and ozone treatment to give you the smoothest and purest taste with every bottle. When I say smooth, I mean smoother than even me. So check out their website, www.aspirapura.com, and use the code COE10 to get 10% off your order. That's Aspire Pura. Man, it's crazy. I ain't gonna tell that open mic story. Not yet. But
right.
Man, it's crazy because we're on a podcast. The Vibe Controllers now have their podcast. But before podcasts became popular, before everybody started doing them, before people really started listening to them, I remember back when we stayed in 4 Square Apartments, you guys actually was on a podcast called the Slam Evil Podcast way back when. Can you tell us about that experience and like looking back at where the Slam Evil Podcast was and now how podcasts have grown? Kind of tell us a little bit about that experience for you guys.
It's funny, man. That Slam Evil Podcast was really before its time because it was just, a bunch of nerdy dudes,
super creative
talking about nerdy stuff. And we, just having conversations that we would normally have conversations, just with each other. We just kind of recorded that. And it's just crazy. Like now, man, it's just like that stuff is just normal at this point. Like where we were attempting to do, and we wasn't trying to do it for nothing. We were just doing it for fun. And like now, like those things are common. It's so many, the stuff we was talking about, whether it was, relationship crap or comic books or wrestling, which we did a lot of watching back in the day. Still do. Right. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like the stuff that we were talking about, like you have thousands of podcasts that are geared to those things that we were talking about. So honestly, man, that just gave, like, we didn't know what we were doing. We were just doing something. But I mean, I guess that experience, you know, and then coupled with just being able to do different live shows and connecting with different people and different creatives just kind of brought where we are now with this podcast, you know, just you mentioning it, I forgot all about that. And it's like, yeah, this podcast really has been about, because I took a 10-year break, so, and which is crazy. So this podcast has really been about almost 15 years in the making, right? Yeah. And so I just, wow, but that experience in itself, I mean, it was so much fun. And honestly, you know, I'm sure we'll talk more about it, but that's kind of the premise of our podcast, to where we're just being normal. It's just me and Kelly talking about random stuff, and he giving his thoughts, and I'm giving my thoughts, and it's just, you know, like a basic conversation, and we'll probably argue in the middle, because, you know, Reggie, all we do is argue. Yeah. So pretty much. You know, but if you know us, you know, just let it happen. Don't. It's normal. Yeah. Right. Because if you get in it, we're gonna turn on you. If you get in it, then we're gonna tell you to shut up. Hey, ain't lying. Like, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that was such a great experience, man. I'm glad that you brought that up, though. Shout out to Slam with Ken Patterson. So yeah, William Thomas Anderson the third. Yeah, right. Bill, young Bill, and we gonna say his name. That's our brother. Right? Say his name. But so you know, the whole experience with you guys starting out hosting, and it's crazy because I've seen the transition, because you started out hosting in Hattiesburg, hosting in Jackson, hosting in Greenville, and then it's kind of like the heart of the city took place, in which Merc pretty much became Cocky in a way, right? And like, if y'all watch Heart of the City, he kind of tells that story a little bit. Man, break this story down. Like, how did you really get into hosting? The truth is, when Kerry really didn't, let me tell you, Kerry really wouldn't give me a chance, man. I had to start off doing poetry. No, that was terrible. That's a lie. He wouldn't never let me get on stage, man. When Kelly used to come down here, Kelly used to write the tear bad poetry that he used to be doing. I just wanted to get on the stage, but I mean, it was terrible. But that's why I stopped doing poetry. Then I just started getting on the microphone and venting, and that was terrible too. But honestly, man, the first event that we hosted together was it was a concert. I ain't do nothing. And this was before Kelly had ever hosted anything. Yeah. I remember, like, it was plain as day. Like, he stood on the stage. I was high as Christmas. He was just standing there. I was gone. And I'm doing the talking. I'm like, I think I was super nervous. I think I'd had too many illegal substances put into my body at that time. I would neither confirm nor deny it. And I didn't say nothing. He didn't say anything. And that's what we were called. The super twin, man, and we weren't called it. That man, we were being called it. I don't know, super twin. But Kelly didn't say a word. And then honestly, I think the Hattiesburg experience just allowed him to just kind of like work out some kinks, and, you know, start to kind of figure out who he was as an artist. Yeah. And of course, you know, as an artist, you take different things from different people. You know, and I think he just kind of figured that out. And then when he got back, when that ended and he started hosting the Nameless Open Mic, shout out to Sweet 106. When he started hosting that, I think he kind of started to figure out who he was as an artist then. Like, because like he said, he used to vent. I still be venting. I just know how to structure it now. Yeah, because I remember back in it was at Taste. That's where the open mic used to take place. Yeah, man, Kelly used to just get on there and vent, and I'm sitting up here like me being your friend. I know you, and I know your personality, and you was just being you, and I'm sitting up here, everybody in there cracking up laughing. I'm like,
what the hell they laughing at?
Because the nigga, he not saying nothing funny.
Exactly. But
yeah, the truth is funny.
but
It's all about the way
to
you do
them, to the audience, to everybody else around, they were finding it extremely funny. And I was like, this boy on to something. He on to something. And he keep at it, man. He gonna be great. And man, I'm proud to see where y'all are now. But going back to the open mic, man, talking about substances in your body. So funny story number one. I got engaged back in 2009. We were about to get married in 2010. And all I remember, the first time I ever got on stage to do poetry.
Man, Reggie was so slush. Reggie came up there, man. When Reggie came up to me, I knew Reggie was drunk because he was talking to me right here. He got right in my face.
Yeah.
And started talking to me. And he was like, yeah, man, I'm finna get up there and do some poetry. I was like, oh my God. I'm like, all right, buddy, go on, get up there. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, I got a question. Was the poetry dope?
Hell no. I mean, I don't remember. I remember. It might have been dope, but it's you. We gonna laugh anyway. We was just like, what is Reggie doing? Like, what he finna do, man? I don't know, but he was ready though. Reggie had his. I had to call. Had you played then?
Nah.
Okay. Yeah. I had to call Walt. That's another situation, boy. Anyway, I had to call Walt. The next day, I said, "You ain't gonna believe who came to the open mic." I said, "Reggie." He said, "You go Walt, that nigga sing." You did it sing? Yeah, he want to know that you sing. He said, "I said, no, man. That what your listeners don't know, boy. That Reggie, man, he don't sing."
I ain't sing, but I do remember, man. I don't even remember the poem. I remember I had it in my BlackBerry. I said it, but I said this is dedicated to my future fiance. I knew I was drunk at that moment,
and that's the last time. That's the last thing you remember.
Because that's the last thing I remember. She was there, but we was already engaged. That was the crazy part. I was already engaged, so I'm not sitting up here like,
this man to my future fiance.
My future fiance.
That boy, Joe.
Yeah, so funny story number one, y'all. Funny
You're
story.
right. Dang, a lot of these stories with drunk stories. This story been ready to try to kill me. I'm finna go to another story. He did. I know we probably going off schedule, but funny story number two. Let me tell y'all how good and bad of a friend Reggie.
Oh man.
This that night, you know I'm about to say that we was at some friend's house playing cards, and I got very, very, very intoxicated off shots. Reggie pulls up. I'm venting to Reggie like I'm 4:30 hot about a situation with a young lady. Reggie said,
"Let go.
Let go then. Let go." Reggie gets me in the car. I'm toe up, ready to go. Reggie driving. Man, we pull up to the young lady's apartment. It got to be 15 dudes outside. And Reggie let me get out the car and storm right in the girl apartment. I was supposed to get whooped that night, man. I wasn't nothing but the Lord. But I went up there and acted the fool.
He really
Reggie just sat out there on the car, just
waiting for somebody to come in.
He just waiting for somebody to be like, all right,
So that was the crazy thing about our friendships, though. I was the knucklehead out of everybody. Cause I almost wrecked the car one time. I almost killed Merc.
Man, almost killed me, man.
Merc, and I think was it Walt or Bill?
Nobody was in the car. It was just me and you. Man. This when the car turned around the other way? No, when that man drove clean across the median. Yeah, Reggie, we were lit in the car. Reggie was singing "Cry Me a River." I never forget that. Justin Timberlake, "Cry Me a River" had just came out, and he had it bumping in the Honda. Man, I looked up and I was just like, Reggie had drove clean across the median.
it just had to be Jesus because wasn't traffic just stopped when he did it. Man, we looked at each other, we just started laughing. That's all we could do. It was like, that's all we can do. I was like, man, this man crazy.
It must have been on. Y'all was on 98.
Yes,
yeah, we was on
right
98.
by Chili's. The man just drove right across the median. I said,
crossing the bridge,
literally
heading back towards USM. Yep. And I know I was about to hit somebody in the back, and I was like, "Oh snap! Either we gonna hit them, or we gonna hit somebody else." So I just jumped the median and a little bit of a cord.
Jumped the median. I was like, "Yeah, man.
Hey,
let's go on home."
But Kelly, I saved your life one time too.
Wait, when? I believe it got to have something to do with.
Yep, it do.
Oh, oh yeah. Hey man, yeah, we can't even talk about that. That was I think I know what you're talking about. That was a situation that involves some stuff.
All I know is I felt like Superman because I had my hand on a whole knife blade.
Bruh,
and that's all I know. But we gonna go to the story.
Right.
We gonna get off of that one. But man, you know, these were fun times, man. So the vibe controllers talking about you guys and coming up with the podcast, but now being able to maneuver man throughout the country the way that y'all been doing, man. How's that journey been for y'all?
Man, it's so funny, bro, because the vibe controllers started before there were any vibe controllers. Like literally, I remember I was in Atlanta. I was this is when I was living in Atlanta. I was working at a place. I just put it like that. But I was living in Atlanta, man, and I remember conversing with some of my colleagues who were just doing some entrepreneur stuff. And this idea just popped in my head, and I was like, man, like I just want to have this conglomerate of people that are like on the same wavelength that I'm on. I'm gonna call it the vibe controllers. And I mean, like I go back now like to 2017, 2018, where I was already using the hashtag before it had just, you know, become something, but I just didn't know like how I was gonna do it. And then you know, we had always been talking about trying to do, you know, get back to doing stuff together, hosting or you know, just doing different type of stuff. We just never knew what it was, and just, you know, we just threw this podcast out. Kelly just kind of threw it out like a year or so ago. And I was like, you know, it's kind of like whenever it happens. And then like the timing was perfect. So when we came up with the name, I was like, that's us. Like everywhere we go, and this is not to brag, but these are just facts. So, you know, everywhere we go, it's a vibe. You know, we bring that vibe with us. Like we control that vibe. We create it. It's not about, you know, it's not really about where you go. It's like the people you're around, and it's just the energy that you provide. And it's not just with us. It's with, you know, you, just the people we've all come into contact with, man. Everybody is a vibe, and, you know, we just control it. So, you know, that's just, that name just, it was just it. Like as soon as it happened, it was just it. And then, you know, we 2 episodes in, I mean, we got 1.4K group members on Facebook in a 2-week span. We got over 300 members on Instagram. And I mean, it's crazy. And we only been doing this maybe a month. So, and I just, you know, not to get too deep, I think this just a season, like all the stuff that we've been doing in the past 10 years that you've been doing, like, it's just time to like cash in on all of it. And so these are just the benefits that we're reaping of all the work that we put in over years, man. I'm excited about it. Like, it's super dope. It's super dope.
Most definitely, man. You know, we think back to humble beginnings, man. But like you were saying, like just controlling that vibe. Ever since I've been knowing y'all, it was like people flocked to you guys. And being able to flow between different groups of people, different types of people.
Absolutely.
Ever since I've been knowing y'all, I don't care if it's the thugs, I don't care if it's the pretty boys, I don't care who it is, the church folks, You know, I saw Merc, was that last year, maybe the year before last. That may have been pre-pandemic. He hosted an event at the church. And I was just thinking to myself the whole time, please don't cuss in front of all these church folks, man. Please. I know you gonna be you. But I'm like, please don't. I know him. Please don't cuss in front. I was just sitting over there praying. Like, please don't cuss in front of all these church folks. But we had a good time though. He stuck to who he was, and even tonight, I was like, "Are we gonna do this live?" Because I hadn't done a live show in a while, and then I was like, "You know what? I'm scared Merc gonna end up dropping the F-bomb." So,
why y'all all scared of me?
Because you say anything.
We know you.
I just,
and Reggie's professional. Him and his wife, they good upstanding people in the community. You can't be dropping these F-bombs on this damn platform. The boy gonna lose the church listeners. They gonna be like, who's the heathens that you had on there? We don't need that. Man, that's rich.
But everybody didn't started from somewhere. And that's why I ask always about y'all champion story, because everybody done been at some point to where they weren't supposed to be. And going back to another funny story, these guys actually told me I couldn't make the Looker back in the day at the parties because
the black party you made it.
I don't know what be in that.
Man, listen, that boy go to the liquor store buy everything.
I ain't gonna tell him
and
what was
poured it. They poured it in the bowl, and people be drinking it, and everybody be told. Like everybody be told.
When they say swimming pools, like I used to have people in swimming pools, and man, thank God for deliverance. But man, we used to, we used to throw parties, and this another. I told y'all, 20 years in the making. These guys have saved my life a couple of times, because I remember one party. I called myself a DJ too at one point in time, just for them little parties we used to throw at the apartment. And man, one time I forgot what, I think it may have been Juvenile playing. Then a church song came on. The next thing I know, it's the police at the door. And I think it was Kerry who had to come out there because I was snapping on the police. I was just there.
Yeah, Rich just out there. I was like, bro, what is you doing, man? You trying to go to jail? You can't go to jail in Forest County, man. You got to come on, man.
In Forest County.
We a long way from home, bro.
We're finna be in there all weekend.
Like, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Come on in the house.
Ain't none of, look, I was working at 5 Mountain. The little bit I was making wasn't gonna be able to get you out. You gonna be in jail.
Yeah, so that was a life-saving experience too, man. Life-changing, definitely. Man, y'all remember the I pay rent story?
Man, so listen, I only got the phone call after the story happened. I was not there, but I heard about it the next day.
All I know is I'm trying to be as discreet as possible.
I pay rent. You can get out.
I mean, it's amazing what young love will do to you, man. How you out here bad. Turning on your friends, doing all type of stuff.
I ain't turn on nobody.
We wasn't talking about you.
Oh,
no.
I
didn't say nothing about you.
I was about to say, wait a minute. I don't remember that part of the story.
And so when sometimes you get real, you get a little too hyped up. And then when somebody say something to you, you forget that you're talking to a whole human being, and then they clap back on you, you be feeling some type of way. So, Reggie, like you said, we thank God for delivering. Reggie had to flex real quick.
Man, I think Reggie just got fed up.
The problem was it was done to him in public. It was out of line, and it was around a group of people where it shouldn't have been done. Had that situation happened, pulled him to the side, had a conversation, may have been different. But now that person chose violence with the wrong food that day, because that nigga went slap off.
We gonna bleep that part out.
You can get
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was
I
rough.
tell you, we was just sitting there like,
Them folk called me. I said, man, he boy crazy.
man, we just sitting there like, shit, he do great. I mean,
Yeah,
it is what it is.
because the crazy part was, they felt like they can just come to where we lived at, where we laid our head at, and just do what they wanted to do. No, it wasn't going down. I told you I was the knucklehead, so thank God for deliverance. We share these stories to show people.
Not really, man. I mean, I think you
Really?
still,
I don't think
you
you
still
would.
embodied some of them same characteristics, but it's just in a tactful way now. You still,
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna demand your respect and make sure folks, treat you accordingly. And that's all you did. It just was in a non-tactful way. But ain't nothing wrong with that. It's just we keep the qualities because that's not a bad characteristic. Nothing wrong with that. It's just you now you understand grace and mercy and how to extend that to people, and you think before you act a lot of times now. Except I know it's tough, especially when it comes to your kids and your family. Sometimes it's like, you do wrong by them, you might revert. You know what I'm saying? But
Damn that you didn't need to show no grace and mercy that time. You did exactly what you were supposed to do. You were right.
oh, I'm not saying he was wrong. I'm just saying that the change now as
the
opposed
growth.
to how, the growth.
And how we handle things.
But I also, shit, we be giving folk too much grace. Sometimes you got to just let folk know these days.
Yeah, but you got to have discernment too. So when your discernment kick in and let you know when to give grace and when not to give,
I'm discerning somebody in the mouth.
And grace ain't necessarily got to be. Grace can be silent. Like grace can be, I'll just not deal with you and walk away and let the Lord have it. Because
to your point, and that was a lesson that has stuck with me. Carrie told me this years ago. Reggie, it may have been after this incident, or it may have been after another incident. I don't know. All of them kind of run together in a blur sometimes. But he told me, he said, man, a lot of times the best response is no response. So for those that's listening, sometimes you ain't gotta pop off. Sometimes you ain't gotta come unglued. The best response is no response. And I take that lesson with me to this day in certain situations. And then certain situations, like Merc just said, if it come down to my wife and my kids,
you supposed to say something. But honestly, man, when you like now, at the age that we are, it's just like, is it worth it? Because like you say something to somebody these days, it ain't gonna be an argument. It's gonna be they on some different stuff. And like, is that really worth it just to prove a point? And honestly, it's just not. Like, like Kelly said, it costs me nothing to just stop dealing with you, right?
And actually, it's priceless when they deal with my peace.
So I mean, because times are just different. I think that just comes with evolution. Some people still ain't figured that out. Some people still like to pop out. But I mean, I'm straight. Like I'm trying to. I do not want them folk be at my funeral on my tombstone and say Kid was real funny and he was a real one because he didn't take no stuff. No, he was sorry because he walked away. I'm still alive to tell about it. I'm straight. Like these folk can have it, bro.
Yeah, because folks ain't fighting no more. I mean, you be wanting to beat folks up, but like, man, these people ain't taking no help no more, man. They out here trying to take your life. So, hey, and again, man, at the end of the day, it's really about, protecting your peace, while upholding your character and your integrity at the same time, and realizing that, every battle ain't yours and everybody ain't your assignment either. And so you just gotta, it'd be all right. God bless them and keep moving.
So can I ask a question?
Hey, let's go. Let's go.
So I'm very, because like there's a whole lot of stuff we ain't talked about that we can really talk about. We'll talk about that. We have some personal time. But I think it's very interesting to have seen, like, I knew 18-year-old Reggie, and to see, like, was he 30?
38.
38, 38, you'd be 39 next year. So like to see older Reggie, like dad, family man, you know, businessman, is I talk a lot about it all the time. It's so funny because when we say Reggie, immediately we start laughing.
Immediately.
Because it's like we think about all them stories, and then at the end we like, bro, we would have never thought that like
That guy
this would be Reggie. Like we just never thought that. I think how's the transition even? Like what was that like? And I think, I mean, and this was even before you got engaged. And shout out to Cookie, because I think that had a lot to do with it.
Yeah. Shout out to my beautiful wife, Cookie, my future fiance.
Right.
boy.
But man, like the transition, I think it was just a lot of stuff that kind of took place over the years. For one, the ignorant side, a lot of it, I didn't come to grips when my dad died. Like I was still kind of numb for a good little while, for like maybe 3 or 4 years before I finally came to grips with he ain't coming back, you know. And now you're gonna have to start doing some things to help your mom out, to help your family, to help yourself out that he would have did. So I still made some foolish decisions, right? I mean, we all do. We still do it today. But I think that really was the catalyst, starting it, having brothers like y'all in my life to where y'all spoke. And this is so this is the difference between Kelly and Kira. So just like Kira said, I pulled up at the house and just let them go in. That's Merc. I tell Merc something going on, he like, let go. Kira, on the other hand, you know, they sound alike, but he goes, Reggie, you know you acting stupid. He was gonna read me my rights. So being able to have that friendship with you guys over the years, man, being able to, y'all help put that mirror in front of my face in a lot of different situations. But then from there, as I got married or got engaged, prior to the marriage, knowing that I wanted to have a family and I couldn't keep doing some of the same stuff, be the same person. And ultimately, man, it was just getting into God and getting into the word, man, and having a relationship with God. And man, it's just transition from there. And man, a lot of where I am now in transition from our friendships, even the name of the podcast, y'all, it was inspired by our friendship, because a lot of times, man, Sundays, if it was a pay-per-view going on, Monday, Thursday nights, we was always watching wrestling. Right. And you know, the champion over everything pretty much came from being a wrestling fan, you know, thinking about overcoming some stuff and the things that we had to do in life that transition for us. But then at the end of the day, just having my belt on my shoulder, knowing, look, my family is dependent on me. I got to go out here and I got to kick tail the best way I can kick tail and be a champion of everything. So that's how the transition took place.
We glad you got it, and if we keep referencing Walt is one of he another one of the group. He one of
yes.
And Walt and I always talk about, like, Reggie got it before all us got it. Like, you know, like he really got it. We be laughing and stuff, but Reggie got it. And when he got it, like, he just took off. And
man, I really think Walt got it before I got it.
No, Reggie, you ain't never been scared of nothing. No,
you're
like,
right.
You've never been scared. I was telling one of my partners at the gym, I said, man, listen, I wish you could meet my partner, man. I'm telling you, man, because Reggie ain't never been scared. Like, Reggie is, because I got a homeboy I work out with, and he always be talking about, like, girls that he want to holler at all the time. And I was like, boy, you need to meet my homeboy Reggie, because he used to be unconscious. Like, Reggie gonna shoot. And then he didn't care about no rejection, none of that. Like, and it wasn't just in that particular realm. That realm is funny. But it was the same way whenever you was pursuing your goals, like even, coming with ceasefire and, moving on to, doing what you're doing with the school district, even when it came to shooting that cookie and getting married and all that other stuff, like Reggie was just unconscious. I was like, yo, Reggie gonna be successful because he don't have no fear or rejection whatsoever. Like, that dude unstoppable. He like unpenetrable at all. Like, I envy that. I've always envied that about you.
Yeah.
Like that quality. Like, I'm like, man, I wish I had what Reggie got. Reggie, he don't even care. We used to be out.
Yeah, I was shooting my shot. Man, shout out to our brother Walt, because Walt told me he's another funny story. But yeah, he was like, Reggie, you gotta slow down, bro. Like, you shoot your shot too much.
Yeah, man. I'm talking about
Like
it didn't matter what league they was in. They in the NBA. I'm telling you, nigga, they in the big league, they in the AAA, like this. Anybody can do that.
It didn't matter. It didn't matter.
I mean, shots you don't take.
Exactly. Even like you said, back to the career thing, man. I think I applied for like 20 or 30 positions before I became a manager. And that's just going that extra mile. Like, when you got your mind set on something and you really know where you're supposed to be. And a lot of times you do need your friends to kind of speak to say, you hadn't grown through that situation yet. Yeah, you supposed to be there, but there's some stuff underneath that you got to work on to get there. And that's the relationship that I've had with these guys over the years, man. To where they would do that, just that for me. But yeah, shoot my shot. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. The outcome is gonna be the outcome, right?
Yeah, bro. You miss the ones you don't take. So
That's it.
And let me tell you seen Reggie play basketball. He shooting.
Oh, Reggie shoot, boy. Listen,
Reggie gonna shoot
Reggie's
now.
not.
It don't matter how bad the shot is. He gonna shoot.
Reggie, one he catching and letting that thing fly. Right. I'm like, yeah, just Dave. If you open, go, it ain't matter, babe. You get the Reggie, just go and run back down.
Them basketball Sundays was some kind of fun.
Man, them basketball Sundays used to be so hilarious, boy.
Dude, there was some kind of fun, bro. Like,
Man, I'll never forget. I bounced off the ground so quick one time. I fell and was like,
I mean, hard ground.
They got up and started running. I was like, he hurt. He hurt. Bro, you ain't got the front for us.
Look,
I mean, you didn't do what other folks did.
Speaking of bouncing up and getting back running, I know you guys have had some type of challenge in your career that you've had to bounce back from, and kind of paint that picture for us. Merc, I'm gonna give this question to you. Paint that picture of something you had to bounce back from in order to get your career really up and going, man.
I'm still having them now, especially when I think, the perception of what people think is like, when you get like that break and you get on TV, like it's gonna be like this, you know what I'm saying? But there are a lot of other things that kind of go into that as well too. And everything happens in its time. I think the biggest thing that I learned when the experience is to keep grinding, just to keep working, to be ready for the next opportunity. That opportunity happened for me because I was ready for it. And you just have to be ready for the other opportunities that come after that. Like, I've had opportunities to be on several different shows that you see on TV often, but I got rejected for them. And it wasn't necessarily because, I couldn't take it personally and say I wasn't good enough, because obviously I'm good enough because I made it on one show, but, it just wasn't my time. And, you go through those lumps and, it hurt. It don't feel good, but something always happens to let you know that this is what you're supposed to be doing and you got to give. And so, like, you deal with bounce backs all the time. Like, even it doesn't matter what level you get to, the more you grow, it's still going to be something that you got to bounce back from. Adversities are going to happen. Just like, in reference to the word, the weapons are definitely going to form, but that they won't prosper. And so it's just all about how you come back from and how you deal with that adversity, and really is going to determine how far you go.
So Cocky, you said you took a 10-year break, man. So right now you coming back into your stride. So tell us about, what's up and coming for you and what does this new next year look like for you?
Definitely doing, I think the 10-year break was like good for me because I think I had like a really tough 3-year run where all I was doing was events. And you get burnt out. And I was trying to grow up in that process too. So I think the 10-year break for me was perfect because it just allowed me to just live and have some different experiences and moving to different places, meeting different people. And so now with this podcast, like I have so much more perspective and things to talk about. And honestly, that's where I am with just focusing on this podcast. And really my passion is I don't have to be out front. Like I like the creative process of planning different events, networking more so than anything else because I love to have people together who can connect and my people specifically. Let me just be clear because I love me some Black people. And I want Black folk to get together and meet each other and work together and build communities. So, we're in Mississippi and there's so much potential there, not just in Jackson, but in Hattiesburg and all the places in Mississippi where it can be, a prosperous area. So that's really where I am, man. Like, focusing on this podcast, and I got a few events coming up that I'm linking with some good friends of mine who own a magnificent spot here. Plug Flamingo Jackson.
Shameless plug.
Shameless plug. So plug the Flamingo Jackson. So yeah, that's just what it is. I mean, I'm just happy to be out here still being creative, and it feels good to know like 10 years later, I'm still able to be out here. People still, like, hey, bro, you can do some things. So, and I'm hosting too. So, we just this past last month we were in Hattiesburg. So homecoming weekend. Shout out to
Yeah, that was crazy because man,
Yeah.
I actually ended up having home for my 20-year class reunion. So I wasn't able to see or support my brothers, but I was like, man, so we got on the same night, y'all both hosting events in one city and both events going on at the same time. And I'm like,
both sold out.
Both sold out. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I just seeing it in my mind, like, man, this is crazy. Like both of them doing what they're passionate about doing, what they were called to do out here, connecting with people and man, just building growth in the Black community, man. And it's amazing to see it, man.
Bro. It's so, crazy, man. That was 21 years from the day we met.
Yeah.
So like 21 years ago, we that's when you got to camp. So we became friends. So it's like the anniversary of, our friendship, which is so crazy. So just to be there and just like, damn, like we wouldn't have thought that this would happen. This is not what I thought about when I stepped foot on the campus. Yeah. So it was super crazy, man. But thank God we serve a God that's in control and we not in control. So he's strategic in how he moves. So everything worked out. It was a great time. So it was good to get back on stage and just connect with people.
Yeah, because being, speaking of being strategic, I think me and Kerry actually talked almost a year ago about getting y'all on to do the podcast. And and now it's just crazy. A year later, man, y'all are the vibe controllers, and man, just controlling your destiny. And what does the next few months look like for y'all? I know y'all just got through talking about cuffing season, man. Shout out. Y'all need to go on SoundCloud. Y'all need to listen to episode number 2 where these brothers break down what is cuffing season. They get into it a little bit on the show. Not really, but they kind of have a difference of opinion when it comes to certain things. But go on SoundCloud, check out the Vibe Controllers and listen to episode 2. But cuffing season's coming up. Thanksgiving. I mean, most folks forget about Thanksgiving. They go from Halloween to Christmas, but we got to talk about Thanksgiving because a lot of folks don't know y'all can cook.
60127 1633. Smoking Charlie's barbecue. Where you wanna eat?
Smoking Charlie.
So good.
Come on now.
So good.
Merc got that peach cobbler on hey. So what's next for y'all, man, during this holiday season?
There we go.
Hey,
So,
Sunday.
so we're gonna be live Sunday on Facebook and Instagram at 7 p.m. Central. So we'll be going live, just to kind of connect with our people, but also to kind of give you a little sneak about what we'll be talking about. Episode 3, which we'll be recording next week, and then it'll drop next Thursday. So episode 3, just to see you here, we'll give you the look. We talking about, and it's funny that you just mentioned Thanksgiving and we can cook, because that's what we talking about. Episode 3, we talking about the Thanksgiving struggle plates and all this mess people be posting, and different, like stuff that you dislike about things. So we'll be talking about since it's that season. So we'll be talking about that this coming next Thursday when that airs. So that's what that's looking like for me for the rest of the year. I got an event coming up Sunday, the weekend of the 12th, I think, here in Jackson. So it's like a little social type event that I'm putting together. So other than that, man, I'm just focused on this podcast, getting out here and make some things happen. And, that's the man to talk to. He be here where.
Merc, what you got, man? What you got, brother?
And this, November is definitely busy. Like I'm actually, so I'm doing this today. I'm gigging tomorrow night. Shout out to the Thick and Proud sisters. They do a showcase every year here in Jackson. So I'm doing that tomorrow. We got the live that's coming up on Sunday, like Kerry mentioned. And obviously we're recording next week, and that new episode will drop on Thursday. Then I'm gigging here in Jackson Friday. If you're in the Delta Thanksgiving weekend, I'm actually in Indianola on the 26th, Friday night. And I got some other kind of private stuff that's going on too. Actually, I got a couple of gigs coming up. December 12th, shout out to the Nasty Show, DJ Nasty Show. It's a R&B night that they used to do. Him and Cujo actually used to do, DJ Cujo. Shout out to Marcus as well too, man. All our brothers. And so
that's a Saturday, really.
So yeah,
they have a date night.
December 12th on the trail. They bringing something back here called
Let's go.
It's an all R&B joint. Shout out to the good people at Tougaloo College as well too. I'll be doing something for them in December as well. Man, I got a lot. I'm just gigging and grinding and kind of really just bookings are open if y'all listening to this for 2022, and some for the few dates that may be available for the rest of the year. Both, individually and collectively, if you want to book us, that works as well too. And just really kind of focusing on the podcast and being consistent with that is really what's important. I personally think that we have something that's extremely special and rare because it's not something that you see a lot out there. And obviously by the response that we've gotten so far, it's just confirmation that we're doing the right thing and on the right path. And so, yeah, man, I expect us to definitely be blown up 6 months from now.
Y'all already blowing up.
Well, on a whole nother level, like you can, a lot of times, man, you can, you always see the end before the beginning. God will show you, what's at the end of the rainbow, but he won't show you the valley. You just got to go through that. You know what I mean? And so we'll speak those things that are not as though they were. And
Kelly practiced all his answers.
No, he did not. No, he did not.
He didn't even know the questions, man. He didn't know the questions.
You see the boy being
as you can see.
Kerry's hate.
Good boy.
That's what I'm talking about.
Kerry's hate.
This boy practiced
Hey,
All my life, I had to
look,
fight.
I know we coming towards the end of the show, but I got another funny moment since we talking about Thanksgiving coming up. Y'all gonna be talking about struggle blades.
That's spaghetti.
That's what you been talking about. Boy, that man here.
Let me see
He
it.
rich out here, bro.
Man, look,
That's rich.
let me tell you, Bill Steele is the smartest person out of here.
He didn't eat none of that spaghetti.
He
No.
Cool. So, you in college, man, you poor.
Bill would eat nothing but
Yeah.
Wendy's and Sonic anyway.
That's it.
But you know what I'm saying? Like when you're in college, you're poor. We had a roommate who invited his significant other over, and she was like, "Hey, I'm gonna cook some spaghetti." So we was like, "Oh, okay, cool."
What did it look like?
It was the most saucy spaghetti I ever had in my life. Like just saucy. I couldn't even taste the meat. I mean, but we ate it. We ate it.
Well, we
ate-
paid for it the next day. Well, I paid for
But
it.
when I
that
tell
night.
you, we were tearing that bathroom up, boy. Woo. Never again.
She
When
set y'all up, man. She put egg
That's why
legs.
them folks say when the woman cooks spaghetti, don't eat everybody's spaghetti, man. 'Cause I'm talking about. She told that shit. That shit was so funny, man. Bill sitting in the room eating his fish stick, just laughing at us. We in there.
Everybody suffering, except for our roommate who girlfriend it was. He was all right.
Well, his stomach got used to it, probably, man.
But everybody else.
I don't think he ate it. Now that I'm thinking about it, I don't remember him eating it.
He probably looking at y'all like, man.
He might
I
not
don't know.
have. Matter of fact, it was just me, you, and Walt.
Yeah,
It was a
That-
set.
that's what I'm saying.
That was it. It was just us three.
I mean, we were gonna eat it. I mean,
Yeah, I
look,
mean, like you said, we were hungry, man. We trying to
let
make
me
it
tell
happen.
you, Reg, I also probably owe you. I owe you probably about $70 to $80 because every time you go to the store and buy Bud Light and then Captain Wafer crackers, man, I just used to sit up there and drink your beer and eat them crackers. Me and Walt, I was like, man, I need to send Reg a little cash here, but I know I know I robbed your dog. Like we just be sitting there.
We good,
Ooh.
man.
Struggle, bro.
So yeah, look, man, we got a lot more stories we could tell y'all, man, about stuff that happened through the years. About that time Kelly got bust over the head in the club. We ain't gonna
No,
go
I didn't. I didn't get busted over the head in the club.
It was a
Right.
wrist, wasn't it?
Mirror.
I'll tell you, this will really happen. All right, so here it is right here. There go the scar right there. So here's what really happened. First of all, don't drink Burnett straight. Let me say that first and
Don't
foremost.
drink Burnett at all.
Don't drink Burnett straight. So I'll never forget this, man. I was so drunk that I thought somebody had pushed me into the mirror, but that's not what happened. When I sobered up, I never forget that. I think Dion and them were beside me too. I was gone. I was
You were
super
hot
drunk.
that night, man. Cause I don't even know who
man.
you rode to the club with. It wasn't me, but some kind of
It
way
was.
I have no idea.
I
who
think
was.
it was Mike.
It had to be Mike.
it
I
was
think
Bibby.
Mike.
But you came
Yeah,
and got
I was
me
like, Mike,
to take you to
I
the
have no idea.
hospital.
Man,
Mhm.
And you know me,
I
I'm
was-
sitting up here like, who we about to fight?
I didn't even. So here's the thing. Look at you. So look, I was blasted, and I think they started playing Pastor Troy, and I had I was turned, man, and I hit the mirror, and it broke. I wouldn't think nothing of it, and I felt something dripping down my arm. I thought it was just sweat. I looked and went in the bathroom. I was like, man, I'm bleeding, I'm cut. And I'm like, man, I done wilded out talking about somebody to push me and all kind of stuff, man.
He had me mad. Then I had just shot my shot, and I'm sitting up here like, man, I gotta leave.
I know.
To take this
Yeah,
dude
yeah,
to the
yeah.
hospital. He ain't even ride with me. But like I told
here's the
y'all
thing.
earlier, through those type of situations, that's how our bond got closer.
Yeah.
Bruh, I'm talking about my it was Reggie stayed up there with me, man. My old lady at the time came up there to see if I was like, and they left and went to the basketball team part. I was like, dang.
Hey, but then we go to the hospital for you got busted in the head too.
We can't talk.
Oh, we can't talk about that.
Okay. I'm about to say, I know we went to the hospital for something dealing
that's
with
a
your
different
head.
story.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a different story.
I thought that was the same night. My bad. All right.
No, we can't talk about that.
We're gonna edit that part out.
Yeah, we can't. Can't talk about that story, man. You ain't got the editing. We just ain't gonna talk about it. We can't talk about that, man. That was a very unfortunate incident. We just thank God that we all are grown from this.
I told y'all a lot of these stories kind of blurred together. Yeah, so thank God for deliverance. Thank God.
Right. It's the reason why I grow my hair.
Oh, before you go, man, let the people know how they connect.
Yeah, before we go, two more things. One is, what's a key takeaway that y'all want to give to the people about just being champions over everything and controlling the vibe?
That's just really what it is, man. I kind of try to live, and I probably need to do a better job of that, just being completely transparent. But for me, man, proper planning prevents poor performance. It's just all about being prepared, and maximum effort yields maximum results. Go 110. We ain't got but one life to live. You don't get no do-overs, man. So whatever it is that you're passionate about, whatever it is that you love, man, go out there and do it and give it your all, man. I guarantee you're gonna get something back in return. So it's gonna be a blessing. Just receive whatever the blessing is. So it's gonna be a blessing.
Just be sure it's all good because it's all God. God is the vibe.
I love it.
Worried about.
I love it. All right, so for those who are listening and will be watching this, how can they get in contact with Merc and Cocky?
You can follow me on all social media at Merc B Williams. So that's MERC B Williams. Yeah, that's it. And if you want to book me, the booking is there too. That's bookmercb@gmail.com. And obviously you can follow the podcast, The Vibe Controllers, at The Vibe Controllers. It's spelled correctly. Not the vibe like folk be doing DA. No, it's The Vibe, spelled correctly.
You can follow me at The Vibe Controllers. You cannot follow me on my personal page. It's private for a reason. So you can follow me at The Vibe Controllers on Instagram. You can join the Vibe Controllers group on Facebook. You can check out the podcast, soundcloud.com/The Vibe Controllers. We got some merch. We got a logo now, so we're working on some different merch ideas. And again, that's how you can follow me. Now, you may send me a request to my personal page, and there's a chance that I may accept it if you friends with Reggie or somebody else. But otherwise, it's get rejected because
don't accept them if they my friends, because I got like friends I don't even know. I did. So
never mind. The Vibe Controllers. Follow me there. The Vibe Controllers, and you can book from there as well. The Vibe Controllers @gmail.com. All that.
Awesome. Anything else, guys, y'all want to add before we close out?
You know what? Yeah, Reg, let me just say, brother, we love you so much. We so proud of you, man. And
love y'all too, man.
You have no idea.
You have no idea.
It's a reason.
I'm still gonna laugh when I say
it's a reason. We used to say your name. We just laugh because Red is just so crazy. But now we just smile, man, because you doing it, brother. We love you so much, man. You the little big brother who figured it out. And you doing it, man. So
right, Reggie, you doing your thing. You got a beautiful wife, beautiful children,
family, man.
That baby though, boy, that baby.
Yeah, she the college version of me.
Yeah, man. But yeah, man,
baby been here before.
We proud of you, man. I'm telling you, we don't talk as often, but just know whenever we get together, it's just like we talk every day, man. So
100.
We love you so much. Your family, our family. So whatever you need, we got you, bro. So
appreciate it.
Except them kids, because they look expensive. They look real expensive.
You send them kids on the cock. Kids love me, man.
I'm gonna send a baby to you.
Come on, look. We have a good time.
Hey, I'm the uncle that's gonna give them I'm gonna just give you some money.
Come on. There you go. Sit on here.
We gonna send a baby to you. Let us spend a weekend with you.
Send it here and I let her fuck up kill the shit.
I knew somebody was gonna drop the L-bomb before the end of the show.
Oh, sorry.
So, on that note, we gonna sign off. Once again, it's the Champion Over Everything, COE Champion Over Everything podcast. Y'all can continue to follow us on all podcast platforms, as well as the YouTube channel and Instagram at COE Podcast. And we on TikTok now at COE Podcast. So once again, we appreciate my brothers Cocky and Merc coming on the show, better known as the Vibe Controllers. Signing off.
I thought COE be the colors over here. White folks gonna be there?